Alright, so I wanted to talk about something. I booted up Tekken 7 because I think some of the soundtracks are actually more peaceful for this kind of speak, but I'm actually talking about Virtua Fighter and how like companies are still worried about balance and how strong or not strong we're gonna make a character, and are we gonna sacrifice uniqueness for balance? And I think it's a little bullshit. Rada was talking about, hey, had a competitive player come and make the game completely balanced, but then it ended up being boring. And it's like, what exactly did you do? Because to me, VF found it. VF found the balance that we're all looking for, and no one uses it. Like, and by that I mean, you have unique character traits to each character. Each character is designed with the utmost care. Like I always about Sabaki's. Kira's hard hitting. He doesn't have a lot of strings. He's linear. He has to play the game fundamentally more than anyone else differently. And a lot of people know the matchup to him, but he's still considered good on the tier list. At least you want to talk about a tier list for VF, which a lot of times we don't really talk about a tier list because it's almost like non-existent, since every character is given trade-offs. You have someone like say Kage. He doesn't have any launchers, but he's given a combo throw, and he's given extra extensions at the wall to compensate for the lack of natural hit launchers that he doesn't have. And you have Aoi, who she has bad punishes because she has Inachis and Sabakis, which are basically like counters to attacks that she is forced to make hard reads in order to really get the good stuff. And that encourages that player to play with that playstyle in mind. Taka, he's you can't really juggle Taka like that. There's some characters that can actually do some things on Taka, but that's a topic for another video. The thing about Taka is that since you cannot really combo him, every string that wouldn't otherwise be natural hit, for counter hit would only work. Every string is natural hit on him, so PPP is natural hit. And all these little things are taken into consideration. You have someone like Lei Fei that he's very stance gimmicky. You do a stance and you don't get a hit when you enter the stance. You can get launched, you can get hit out of it. But at the same time, he still has a 14 frame move. Everyone has a 14 frame elbow or mid that he can use. Everyone has a 12 frame down punch. Everyone has, like there's some characters that have a faster jab by 1 frame, say Eileen, Lion, Elblaze, Pi. But that's just 1 frame. Every other jab is just 12 frames, but that's only really there to give that character that uniqueness based on their size type. And not to count the fucking weight class, like some characters that get extra crazy extensions at the wall, but they each basically get something that is within the system that everyone can use, but they just do it differently. Like, basically what I'm saying is to just make the frames balanced enough where none of that shit should be even a problem. Make it so that this game, say for example Tekken 7, they decrease movement for some reason. Just everyone hates that, and it's like, why take out an option that everyone should have? Everyone should be able to just sidestep. In VF you can just sidestep. And on top of that, they tell you what moves are half circular. This game doesn't really tell you what's half circular. You kind of have to be told or just notice on failed attempts, trial and error. VF teaches you everything you need to know about the game. Hell, it even teaches you somewhat of an advanced technique. I wouldn't say it's advanced technique, but just some kind of knowledge, like, say, option selects, like fuzzy guarding and stuff like that. Where at -4, you can, after you block an elbow, everyone is -4. You're +4 when you block an elbow, I mean to say. And if someone wants to respond back with a +4 with an elbow or a throw, you can fuzzy guard that and hold G and simultaneously avoid a throw and block the mid potentially. And there's counters to these things though. There's definite counters to these things. You know, you have evade, crouch, dash that, you know, on wake up, you know, someone can do evading and crouch dash, sidestep into crouch dash, and you can avoid certain track moves, particular highs, particular meaty setups or whatever. And the way to counter this is to then just, if they get up too fast, you do unblockables. You know, you do tech traps, or you do actual dedicated track moves that start up right there on meaty, and they can't really do much. You have to deal with it, and they're forced to make a choice at that point. You know, there's little things with the game that, like, everything has an answer, but it has more than one answer. It's not just, oh, this one character, you know, like say in this game, you have Devil Jin's back, I believe it is 1+2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or some shit. And some females with small frames can sidestep the last part. It's supposed to be half track. The game doesn't tell you what half tracks, you know, but for some fucking reason, these characters specifically can evade it. And you have other characters that cannot evade at all because they're too big, like Marduk or some shit. And it's like, why is that dependent on how big they are? This is a mechanic that should just be universal, like I said, to everyone. You know, not all mids are -3. You know, in this game there's some -1 mids that are safer because they have a string attached to them. It's weird. So you can't always do the safe responses, and it's like, I know balancing for 2D games is a little harder because they're not really based within a certain rule set. You know, that's why I think with Street Fighter V, they try to go back to that Alpha 3 Third Strike kind of shit where, you know, the higher level of attack beats the preceding attack, right? The former attack, which would be, you know, mediums beat lights and heavies beat medium, so on. You know, not one button is really abusable, but I mean that's questionable for SF5's case, since the crush counter, it's really fucking weird. But EF uses that system as well, where I think DOA as well, it uses a system in which the move with the most damage will win in a situation in which other moves of the same damage would just trade. Yeah. And everyone has the same exact advantages and disadvantages on hidden block, more or less, right? And some of this is transferable to other 3D games. So say, for example, you do like a little low, a little, you know, down 4 in Tekken or some shit. You know, down A in Soul Calibur. And it's like 2A or whatever. And they're minus on hit, right? They're minus on hit. And there's some that they aren't minus on hit. You know, if they create like a little stagger animation for the person that gets hit, and you know, you can assume that now the person that initiated that low is plus. You don't need frame data for that, but you know, the game provides it for you anyway, you know. You know, like free. You know, I'm not trying to shit on Tekken here, but basically what I'm saying is, like, a lot of these things could be made easier for people who do want to get better, who do want to get good. Just, you know, a novice that is just trying to learn the ropes, I think is very simple what we need to do. You know, first let's get the brass tacks, you know, let's get better netcodes, let's get efficient lobby systems. You know, I heard Max was saying, you know, I just want to play the game, you know, okay, the match is over, let's start up a new one, you know, let's keep going. Let's not give people time to reflect on their losses. And it's like Guilty Gear Strive is saying, you know, we want to make rank less stress-free for people, so we took away points. And it's like, nah, man. Just make it so that people aren't thinking about their losses as long, you know? Like, you got fucking this game here with the 1,000-year load times and how long it takes to queue up a match. Like, we just need flow, like continuous flow, to just, like, even VF proved this again. Like, you have options for rank match where you find people's names, right? And you also have player matches, which are essentially casual matches that work the same as ranked, where you search for people. And you even have another one where you have just a room for just you and one other person. And then you have a lobby system that works for 8 people. And what happens in that lobby is you can choose to pause and choose to start up the lobby again. There's some issues with that lobby system, but it's good for the time, honestly. I think QoL 14 and some other games like Power Rangers do it the best, where you can watch lobbies, and each little part of the lobby has a different function, right? Like you have one where you can do training, you have one where you just fight or whatever. Winner stays, loser stays. That's all we want, man. We just want a seamless experience. And I think with that, a balanced game is included. You know, I mean, a balanced game is necessary. You know, because no one's gonna give a fuck about all these nice features if overall the game is just not that fun to play. You know, subjectively speaking, of course, but you know, I think it should appease to at least the majority of players. And I think the problem with fighting game developers is that they realize that the majority of players are casuals, that you know, they're not willing to, you know, suck it up and just keep playing. You know, they need to have these little distractions, like freaking giving them clothes, move around the lobby. You know, these little things that they don't have to think about so much on their losses, but it's like, you just make matchmaking seamless. I don't make no one think about their losses. If they want to think about their losses all fucking day, I mean, so what? That's them, man. They can stress themselves out with that shit. I mean, I'm not free from salt. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm definitely not free from salt. But I've noticed that if I can get into a match faster, I think about it less. It bugs me less, and I can do Theory Fighter, where now I can try certain things, which, you know, I would probably otherwise just do at a lobby with someone else, like an endless match, to test out ideas. I wouldn't necessarily say you should test out ideas like that in ranked, but if you don't have the stress of points on you, then what's that stopping from people just not giving a crap and rage quitting, or you know, just doing whatever stupid ass trolly shit? Like, what's the point of actually playing serious if there aren't any points on the line, right? Like, yeah, you would say, oh no, but people rage quit because they want to save their points, but it's like, nah, it can easily happen in unranked. I mean, look at SF5, for example. Like, people were fucking rage quitting in casual matches because there's less of an incentive to do so. Like, why would I need to be respectful if I'm, yeah, I can lose my fucking point. I don't lose points. Like, what? I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think this shit is much more simpler than people make it out to be. That's my take on it. It's gonna be the video. Peace.